Good afternoon, Christine.
Good afternoon. How are you guys?
Excellent.
Good.
Wonderful. You look so far away, but beautifully socially distant.
Absolutely. We have one more joining us, Brian Colvin. So.
Wonderful. Excellent. Well, we still have about a minute left to go before 2 o'clock, and even then, we'll just wait as long as we need to. We're all here for you guys. But in the meantime, I'll go ahead and just once again introduce myself to everyone. I'm Christine Brown, Director of Member Engagement at the Reno and Sparks Chamber. It's a pleasure to have you with us today. And I know some of you actually joined us this morning for Coffee and Commerce, our first and hopefully only virtual version of the event, of our networking event. It went so well, so I want to thank everyone who participated this morning, and we are looking forward to opening our doors to you in the month of July for Coffee and Commerce. And of course, we've got our golf tournament coming up, and it's a good time. It's a good time to be together. All right, do we have Brian with us now?
Yes, yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so we'll just go ahead and jump right in. So as many of you know, we're continuing our Path Forward series in which we invite community lawmakers, stakeholders, influencers to this meeting room together to discuss issues that are of utmost importance to the community as we recover from the COVID-19 pandemic and as we're still navigating our way through it, obviously. So today, it's our pleasure to have Marilee Mora, Brian Culpin, Hassan Azam, and Trish Tucker with us today from the Reno-Tahoe Airport Authority to give us an update on how things are faring up in the air and down on the ground at our airport.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and thank you for this great series that you've had, the Path Forward. I also want to acknowledge Marty Mueller, who's our IT individual here that's helping us out today. So we're going to just kind of talk about what's happening here at Reno-Tahoe International Airport, and I first want to kick it off. I am the outgoing CEO, and last week our Board of Trustees selected a new CEO that will be coming on board on August 3rd, and that's Darren Griffin, who is coming to Reno from the Port of Portland. He will be moving here with his family, and I know he will look forward to really working with the Reno Sparks Chamber of Commerce. I got to tell you that it's been amazing and a wonderful opportunity for me to be on the board for the chamber, and got to say that the three of you there at the chamber end have done an amazing job during COVID-19. So thank you for keeping us all connected, particularly during those kind of bleak times when we were all kind of working remotely and really in our offices and didn't have the community connections, and this has been a great series. So just want to talk about where we've been and where we're going forward. So, you know, last year we had an amazing year, and I'm going to talk about those numbers in just a moment. This was our route map pre-COVID, and we'll have our air service team get into a little bit more detail on what routes we still have. But during my tenure, the last 7 years as CEO of Reno-Tahoe International, really had the privilege of, we've brought in 4 airlines and really brought in some routes that were very, very valuable to this community, particularly JetBlue serving New York City. That was a tremendous win for this community and for this airport. It took us 15 years to get JetBlue here. The other thing that I think was a real win for this community was bringing in 2014 Volaris, coming in with service to Guadalajara, having 25% of our community being Hispanic. Many people go to Guadalajara because they have family in that area. So that has been a really, really important addition to the service network here. We'll talk a little bit about, we hope to see both JetBlue resume that flight in the fall to New York, and certainly having service resume to Guadalajara. But this route map is really the result of all of our employees here at the airport with the community, and particularly with the chamber, working to get a lot of wins. And we'll go into a little bit more detail about what our service looks like right now. Last year was just an amazing banner year for us. 4.5 million passengers, and that was almost a 6% number. It's a number we hadn't seen, I think, since 2008. 58 months of consecutive growth. So when we went into COVID-19, we had been at record numbers. And again, it's that partnership that we've had with the community that allowed us to get to that peak. And it's going to be the partnership with the community that's going to allow us to grow again in the future. Regional Air Service Corporation, we call it our secret weapon because it's actually, in one form or another, it's been an organization around since 2001. They actually incorporated to be able for us to have an opportunity to sign a risk mitigation agreement for the community, to sign a risk mitigation agreement for JetBlue. But this is an incredible group. The Chamber is a member of this. And one of the recent changes, I think, in this group has been the addition of business. And again, that Chamber has helped us. By the Chamber and EDON joining the group, we've been able to bring in other businesses into this. So this is a very powerful organization. When we go out to the airlines, we're able to show all of these partners that are there to help sustain the routes here at the airport, to grow them more in the future. So this is something not many communities can say that they have a regional air service corporation like we have. One of the things that we've done in the last couple of years is that in June of 2018, we completed a master plan for the future. This is a 20-year growth plan. It's a path forward for our facilities here at Reno-Tahoe International. We had a record, that master plan was done in 16 months, and that was a record amount of time. So some of the things that you're going to be hearing more about on the future here at Reno-Tahoe International is that we're looking to bump out the front of the terminal to have better passenger flow, to perhaps have some restrooms in that area. So that's one of our projects. A consolidated rental car facility will be built within walking distance of the terminal, which is really, really important. Out of this master plan, we got a win of having additional parking, the parking within walking distance, and certainly having the consolidated rental car facility within walking distance, which is really, really important for both the business and leisure travelers coming to our community. We actually, the CONRAC, with what we call the consolidated rental car facility, that is a public-private partnership that we are working on right now. We are also looking at replacing both of our 40-year-old concourses, starting with our Concourse C, and we'll be launching a programming study for the replacement of that concourse in the near future. So very, very exciting to look at those projects. And COVID-19 hasn't deterred us from really these future projects. The Aloft Hotel, hopefully you've all seen the Aloft Hotel. It just recently opened on May 22nd. It is really a facility that, unlike our Hyatt Hotel right next to it, Hyatt Hotel was a success from the initial opening. The Aloft Hotel opening on May 22nd has done extremely well for the Memorial Day weekend. It is more oriented toward the millennials, keyless entry, and it is doing well during this time, as we people get out and about more, and people are now coming back to this community. So I'm going to turn this over to Trish Tucker.
Good afternoon. So what you're looking at here is the in-plane passenger bookings at Reno, those going outbound, and the dark gray that you see reflects 2019 last year, and sadly red reflects this year and where we've been, and where we're hopefully heading is in an upturn there. But what you're looking at is weekly averages for flights. In mid-March, we took a significant drop, and we got to our lowest place as far as in-plane passengers in the middle of April. The good news is since then we're seeing an uptick in passengers. Enplanements at the end of April were about 8,600, but in May the total enplanements were just shy of 2,300, which is 162% versus the April timeframe. So once again, good trend. We're going up, and we hope to continue that trend. Got ahead of myself there. So June, the month we're in currently for 2020, the schedule, we currently have 8 airlines serving Reno-Tahoe International with 10 nonstop destinations. Our average daily seat sits around 2,600, with our average daily flights at approximately 21, depending on the day of week. We have American serving Phoenix and DFW this month, Delta serving Salt Lake, United serving San Francisco and Denver, and Southwest has service to Las Vegas, LAX, San Diego, Denver, and Phoenix. So you can tell that we have lost some of our nonstop flight destinations that we had pre-COVID. JetBlue is serving Long Beach 3 times a week, like Marilee said. We hope to see New York return sometime in the not too distant future. Alaska has been serving Seattle on the smaller aircraft. As you may recall, we were able to get the larger mainline aircraft into Reno, but with COVID, we've gone back down to the smaller planes. Frontier serves Las Vegas to the end of this month when they switch to Denver, and they serve twice a week. And Allegiant continues to have service to Las Vegas at once a week. Polaris, as Marilee mentioned, we are hoping to see them return with our service to Guadalajara shortly. And then Jet SweetX, now known as JSX, you may have heard about them too. We're hoping to see them in our market at the beginning of May, but the good news is we continue to be in talks with them, and you may see an announcement hopefully sooner rather than later. This graph that you see at the bottom of the screen is year-over-year seat percentage change that's been offered. In May, you see, and June, about 66% less than where we were at that same time last year. July, it looks like, based on the schedule that we have, it's better with only 39%. And August shows 7%, but we anticipate that August will look very similar to July. It's hard to see too far out in the future as far as schedules are concerned, but we would be happy if we see 39 and 7% we'd be ecstatic. The next part of this, we're going to be showing you what we expect in July with things to change. So that's the red. American is going to increase their service to Phoenix from once to twice. Daily, DFW 2 to 3 times. And I know a lot of people will be happy to see Chicago back in the mix there. Salt Lake City with Delta is going to increase by 1 to 3 times daily. And then United is going to be adding LAX back. We're happy to see that as well. Southwest has some increases. Denver will go to 2 flights daily, and Phoenix will go to 2 flights daily. And Alaska is bringing back Portland, which we are very happy to get that nonstop service back. And Seattle will increase by 2 up to 4 times a day. So Alaska will have 5 flights. The red arrow is kind of where we're headed in the future, which is still a little uncertain for us. As you may have heard previously, the CARES Act for the airlines goes through the end of September, after which time they're not under obligations that they currently are when accepting the CARES money from the government. So October 1st, really we'll see. It's all about creating demand until we get to that date so that we can prove to the airlines that we're worthy to have their craft flying in and out of Reno-Tahoe International. So what's next? It was really great to see the casinos open. It's wonderful to have both sides of the lake open now, and we're hoping this will attract passengers, inbound visitors. We're against the car right now, as most people have seen. Really, a lot of drive traffic. We hope to gain some of that in the air, but a lot of drive traffic as people start to venture out. As states start to lift their restrictions, we hope to see more traveling, and especially in the long haul. But we can't forget that about almost 45% of our traffic is Reno-based, and we're looking to you all to do that grassroots effort and get out there, to hop on planes yourself, to show your family members there's great prices out there. Southwest has a fair sale going on right now that is unbelievable. But Brian will speak to some of the things we're doing to help show people that it's safe to travel again by air. The airlines are doing a lot of things. They follow demand, as we talked about. They're doing schedule adjustments, as you saw in the additions of flights, but also in timing and such. And they're really only looking at about, some of them are 10 days and some of them are a month out in what they're looking at So they're in constant adjustments right now with their schedule, which is why looking into August, we're a little tentative to give too much information. And they're improving customer confidence. They're convincing travelers like we are that it really is safe to fly. All the things they're doing to keep those aircraft clean, to keep social distancing happening. Hopefully you saw Southwest put out the promise that speaks to that as well. So the airlines are all doing that, including masks. Make sure you bring your mask when you can. There are a lot of marketing efforts out there from our partners, and we truly appreciate this. RSCB has a lot of things going on right now, including a TV commercial in the Bay Area, and our other CBBs doing things. The hotels and resorts, their database, they're putting out information to entice people to fly here, which is great. And then, as Marilee mentioned, the Regional Air Service Corporation, there are a lot of efforts going on right now to work together to be able to market. I think we're looking at the LA Basin area as a key point right now, but other things as well. And then we have our own marketing campaign that we're super excited about, and Brian's going to talk to that. So I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you, Trish. We know we're looking at two types of flyers as we look to where we are now and into the near future. We have those that are flying right now. They're eager to fly. They're booking trips. They want to go. They could have a honeymoon they put off, or a grandchild they haven't seen, or they're just done being cooped up. And we're happy to see them, but we also know that there's a lot of passengers out there that are a little scared. They have, maybe they know someone who had COVID. Maybe they have watched a lot of news. They're concerned, and rightfully so. This is a pandemic that we're in. So how do we make those people feel comfortable enough to fly again? And that's really the challenge we have before us. Is we talk about creating demand, but also those local passengers that we need to have fly, and that's who we're trying to reach. Part of our recovery plan is to reach out and make people feel comfortable going through the airport process again, offering the safest airport we possibly can. And so part of that recovery program is obviously making people feel good again, but also making sure that we have systems in place that are going to get you through in an easy, good customer service way you become accustomed to at Reno-Tahoe, and also keeping our employees and our stakeholders safe at the same time. Marketing, what we did right after COVID really hit hard in our region, and we dropped to that low of 212 passengers. We had stopped an existing advertising campaign that was really encouraging people to fly with good deals, and that just wasn't the right message at the time. And what we did, though, is we wanted to keep flying in people's minds. And so we came up with a program that was just a gentle way to keep people thinking about Reno-Tahoe International and trips that they could take. And we had a program we called Live Your Best Trip. It was a little social media fun that we put together where we asked you to send your photos and your stories of the best trip you ever had to Reno-Tahoe International Airport. There's a social media contest. We received 32 submissions and really great stories from people in the region about that connection they have to Reno-Tahoe and how it was a part of this great trip that they took. And that was just a way for us to lightly stay in people's minds. And the next part we're kicking off, we're really in the middle of it now, is live your best trip. Where are you dreaming and traveling to right now? Where do you want to go? Where is it that when you feel comfortable enough to book that next trip, you're going to hop on board and have a great time? And so these are just two ways for us to keep things first and foremost in people's minds about flying. Our next step, though, is a digital marketing recovery campaign that we're calling We Move You Safely. And this is using Facebook and Instagram ads to reassure the public that we're going to give you the safest and best travel experience possible as you go through Reno-Tahoe. In this new world that we're in, we know we have to change that travel experience, and we're going to change it in the way of safety. It's always been safe, but we're going to enhance it even more. And I think everybody on this Zoom would agree that Reno-Tahoe International has got to be the cleanest airport you've ever traveled through. And when you come to our airport, we give customer service surveys, and we always are highest rated on the cleanliness of our airport. But we're taking that to a whole new level. So we have signage throughout the airport, encouraging people, of course, to have masks and face coverings as they come through. If you're going to fly, you're going to need a face covering. So Doesn't matter about your politics, doesn't matter about how you feel about the mask. If you're going to travel, you've got to have those on. And so we're really encouraging people to come to the airport with us. But if you don't have them, we have our own customer service people who will be stationed by the ski statue who will hand out a free mask to you if you need it to fly. And we're happy to do that. The general information, you'll see signs just encouraging everything from, the proper way to cough or sneeze, the right way to wash your hands, the right way to wear a mask, social distancing. It's all about communicating to people to make sure they have an easy travel experience. We also have Perel hand sanitation stations at the airport to make you feel comfortable, to make sure those germs are killed as you're going through. And we have freestanding signage throughout the airport encouraging on social distancing. But on top of that, we have placed 1,000 social distancing decals on the floor of the airport, in front of every ticket counter and bag claim and the stores and restaurants and the gate hold rooms. We're going to help guide you through with the proper social distancing with that signage. And starting on Monday, you will see the beginning of the We Move You Safely campaign, which highlights all the safety measures we're taking in the airport to assure you that your next trip through the airport will be a safe one that will get you on your way. And with that, we're happy to take any questions.
And again, if you've forgotten a mask, we want you to wear your mask in the airport. So we do have customer service reps at the front of the airport near the ticketing area. We got over 200,000 masks that were given to us by FEMA, and we're handing those out because it's not only on aircraft. We strongly encourage you to wear that mask in the airport facility as well. So we are open to any questions.
Awesome. I will speak on behalf of everyone on the call to say thank you for the efforts that you've gone through in order to not only instill consumer confidence, but to truly make people feel safe as they return to flying and as they return to air travel. So thank you so much for all of your effort. I think one of our first questions in regard to safety measures at airports, has there been a coordinated effort or any kind of consistency of guidelines that are in place across multiple airports and, perhaps to Reno destinations that are similar to those that are in place here?
I'm going to just touch on that, and then I'm going to turn it over to Brian Culpin. I can tell you the last couple of months, everyone on our staff has been engaged in conversations with other airports, with our trade associations, and we've all been talking about what we're doing. And I think Brian, he actually heads up one of the committees for our trade association, and there are common things that airports are doing across the country in terms of cleanliness, sanitation, and wearing masks. So Brian, I'll kick it over to you.
Thank you. The Airports Council International is probably the number one trade association that we have for airports in general. And our marketing committee did a survey of passengers throughout North America of what they want to see in their airport experience. And one of the very things they cited, as you were mentioning, was consistency in the travel experience in this COVID era that we're in, that if you fly to Vegas or you fly to Oakland, you're going to have the same experience in terms of what you're going to see and feel as you would in R&O. And that's really important because if you're going to make people feel comfortable, you have to have that consistency in those airports. And so the survey gave great guidance to every airport around the country. You're going to see the hand sanitation, the social distancing, the signage, and that commitment to cleanliness, throughout airports. But we believe at R&O, we're a little bit biased. That we think we have the cleanest airport, and we're going to make it even cleaner for you as well. We're bringing in things like ultrastatic cleaning. We'll be looking at ultraviolet light in the future, as much of a touchless travel experience as you can get. And of course, the masks are going to be very important. We may hear the governor today talking more about that. But again, we're just trying to make everybody feel as comfortable as they can, whether it's a traveler coming through or even our own employees.
Excellent, excellent. And again, I think the consistency is perhaps one of the more important things that people are looking for. And so it's comforting to know that the efforts that are being taken in Reno are being taken seriously elsewhere as well. So that's great to hear. So turning to a little bit of, what perhaps could be called a silver lining in this whole crisis, with air travel diminishing during this time, there is that opportunity to fast track certain projects, such as the runway project. So can you elaborate a little bit more on the progress that's being made right now?
Well, our runway, this is the reconstruction of our main runway, our 11,000-foot runway, and we've been working with airlines for over 2 years with concerns about them having to use a shorter runway. And so actually this turned out to be the perfect time when our flights were reduced for us to be reconstructing the runway, having it out of service for a couple of months. So perfect timing to do this, and it's work that had to be done. It's work that's being paid for by a federal grant. So perfect timing for this, really. At the end of the day, it is perfect timing.
Excellent. Any updates on the consolidated rental car facility?
Well, we continue to move forward on that. I will say, and we're working really on kind of the first phase of that, looking at getting, what will be the construct, what will the design look like? Again, we want to have this as passenger friendly as we can. But I will say one of the things that we are doing and taking advantage of kind of having smaller numbers at the airport is our open parking lot. That one is going to be resurfaced because there are not as many cars there right now. So that's, we're going to be resealing that parking area because it's very popular. It's our lowest cost parking area. So those are the kind of things that we're taking advantage. In the future, we're also going to be doing a project out front, a loop road, the road that goes in front of the terminal. We're going to be reconstructing that project as well. But again, you're right that this is a good time for us to be doing projects when our numbers were lower. I can tell you when our numbers were at the very bottom, we had our custodians who have cleaned every nook and cranny of this facility. All of those chairs that are in our hold rooms, they have been turned over and cleaned, and we have had a continuous cleaning program throughout this last couple of months because we haven't furloughed anybody here. We've been keeping them working to make sure that our standards for cleanliness are at the top of our standards here. We did close some restrooms to really focus on those ones that are being used by the customers. As our traveler numbers come back, those restrooms and the things that we've shut down will be reopening. And again, we've gone from kind of the bottom of only having 215 outbound travelers. We're now seeing 1,800 a day. That would have been a really low number, between 5,000 to 8,000 a normal outbound day. But we're celebrating every bit that we have that recovery. And this graphic that we've had on our screen, I hope you see that that's the light at the end of the tunnel. And we're beginning to see that. And I will tell you that we have a first-rate team here between our marketing team and our air service team, working with the community really to bring back the air service to this community. And as we've talked about, that leisure traveler is going to be the first one to come back. And again, with the casinos opening, with Lake Tahoe being open, we're in a good position to really grow our air service again. And we're here, as we talked about, to make people feel comfortable and safe to travel.
Absolutely. And I know for myself that I am very eager to get up in the air again. And I hear you loud and clear that, when it comes to those of us who are in the business community, as we feel comfortable and safe to fly, it's up to us to help lead the charge to say, Reno is not only a fantastic destination, but it's a great place to come home to. And coming through the Reno airport is the best way to do it. So we are here for you in that way. Absolutely. So I think, since we have just a couple minutes left, I want to acknowledge you, Marilee, for everything you've done and specifically everything you've done for us, for the Chamber of Commerce over the years. And I want to address these last couple of questions to you specifically. What would you say are some of the accomplishments you're most proud of from your tenure?
Well, I'm really proud of our air service addition for new airlines, about a 33% growth. During the recession, we lost a third of our passengers, and we grew that back. this team knows how to do that, and they'll be doing that again. I'm proud of our marketing programs, our social media that Mr. Colton represents. And I've got to say that what you don't see is the internal culture for the Reno-Tahoe Airport Authority. And we have each and every employee engaged in many different ways. We have what we call culture clubs, but it's been a way that we've been able to grow our employees. Our internal promotions have doubled during this time, and I think that's a lot because we give people a lot of opportunity for leadership. But I'm going to shout out back to you because, Christine, during this time, your Path Forward has been an amazing program. You've had all kinds of interesting speakers. You came on board to the chamber during a very difficult time, and you just hit the ground running and have done a remarkable job. So take pride in what you've done, and I know you're a small team there, but you've really made the difference in the lives, I think, of the businesses, including our organization during this very, very difficult time.
Thank you so much. And you know, we are just like you in that we are not done yet. we're still here.
Absolutely.
There's a lot left to do, and I think, you know, you, Marilee, you've laid a beautiful groundwork for your team to continue on into the future. And we feel very much the same way here that, you know, Anne has laid an incredible groundwork, and the three of us are excited to charge into the future on that groundwork. So if you could issue one last piece of advice to those on our call, and perhaps even from a leadership perspective, since of course, all of the successes that you just named are the successes of others, which speaks to your ability to lead. What piece of advice would you give to people on the call in that regard?
I think you don't do it alone. I mean, I think the beauty of what has happened here and what I saw happen when I came back to this community, because this is my second tour of duty, it takes the community, it takes the chamber, it takes our Regional Air Service Corporation. The RSCBA has been a phenomenal partner. You know, everybody has learned how to pull together to make things happen in this community. And I think going forward, and I think all the connections that you have helped foster during the pandemic will mean that's why this community and this airport can be on a road to recovery.
Agreed. Thank you so much. And as bittersweet as it is to have this be your last call with us, you know, we're so pleased to know that that things are recovering at the airport, that the airport is set up for a bright future, and so is our community. So thank you, Marilee, and thank you to everyone on the call. We will certainly have you all back again soon.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right. Bye, everyone.